Welcome to our deep dive, everyone, where we're looking at healthcare innovation and trying to see how it intersects with this global crisis of grievance that seems to be popping up.
Right.
We've got some really interesting sources for this one.
For sure.
We're looking at medical journals, tech articles, and even the Edelman Trust Barometer. So kind of a broad range of things to give us a good picture of what's going on.
Absolutely.
It's especially interesting because today, January 20th, 2025, marks the inauguration of a new U.S. president.
Yeah.
All against this backdrop of global distrust that's outlined in that Edelman report.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting. The U.S. is actually ranked pretty low when it comes to trust.
Really?
Yeah. We're in the bottom 11 nations globally when it comes to trusting institutions,
like
businesses, government, media, NGOs.
Right.
But healthcare is a bright spot.
Okay.
It's one of the most trusted sectors worldwide.
Interesting.
Even with a bit of a decline this year.
Okay, so healthcare has high trust.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's dealing with these issues that are fueling this global grievance thing.
Right.
Like you think about healthcare costs in the U.S.
Oh, yeah.
GoodRx is reporting that insulin prices have dropped by 42%.
Wow.
Which is huge.
Yeah.
But is that enough?
Well, that's the question, isn't it?
Right. And then there's all the anxieties around potential funding changes for Medicaid and the ACA.
Oh, for sure. With the new administration coming in, there's a lot of uncertainty.
Absolutely.
And we can't forget about transparency in healthcare costs.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Healthcare Asia Daily News has this article that highlights that 70% of private hospital bills in Malaysia are unregulated.
Seriously?
Yeah, it's a huge problem.
So people are going in and they don't even know what they're going to have to pay.
Exactly. It creates this feeling of vulnerability, like you're being taken advantage of.
Makes sense.
And it just adds to the distrust.
Yeah, for sure.
So you've got this backdrop of distrust. But then you've got all these amazing innovations.
Oh, yeah. The technology is incredible.
Wearables are predicting IBD flare-ups weeks in advance.
That's wild.
Point-of-care ultrasounds are reducing hospital stays and costs.
It's amazing.
And AI is even assisting with speech therapy.
So cool.
We're also seeing more and more at-home diagnostics using blood, sweat, and saliva, making healthcare way more accessible.
That's got to be a game changer for a lot of people.
Oh, absolutely. And then you have companies like Samsung jumping into the mix.
Really?
Their health app can now manage your health records.
Oh, interesting.
It's an exciting time for healthcare innovation.
It is.
But it makes you wonder, can these innovations actually rebuild trust in the system?
That's the big question.
Or will they just become new points of contention?
Right, because there's already so much distrust out there.
Exactly. Will patients embrace these technologies?
Yeah.
Or will they just be suspicious of them?
It's hard to say.
And that leads us right into artificial intelligence.
Yeah. AI seems to be everywhere these days.
It really does. And this is where it gets really interesting.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
We're starting to see the rise of what's called agentic AI.
Agentic AI?
Yeah, it's a step beyond the AI we're used to.
Like, what's the difference?
So think about things like ChatGPT that can generate content.
Okay, sure. I use that all the time.
Right. Well, agentic AI is about autonomous decision-making.
Wow.
And goal pursuit.
So it's not just about creating stuff.
No, it's about actually doing things.
Like what kind of things?
Well, in healthcare, imagine AI that can not only analyze your medical data, but actively manage your treatment plan.
So like a virtual doctor?
In a way, yeah. Or even potentially performing surgical procedures.
That's both fascinating and kind of scary.
It is, right? It brings up a lot of ethical questions.
For sure. Like, how do we make sure this level of AI doesn't erode trust in healthcare even further?
That's the key, isn't it? Raman Healthcare talks about this concept of artificial integrity.
Artificial integrity. What's that?
It's this idea that we need to prioritize humanity over autonomy.
Okay.
We need to make sure that AI is augmenting human intelligence.
So it's like a tool.
Yeah, exactly.
Not a replacement.
Right. AI should be working alongside doctors and nurses.
Supporting them.
Exactly, not dictating their decisions.
And I can see how that would be important for maintaining trust.
Absolutely. Raman Healthcare actually shares this cautionary tale about a doctor who got a little too reliant on an AI diagnostic tool.
What happened?
He ended up missing some crucial details.
Really?
Yeah, because the AI overlooked them.
Wow. So even with AI, human judgment is still crucial.
Oh, absolutely. We can't just blindly trust the technology.
That makes a lot of sense, especially in healthcare where the stakes are so high.
Exactly. And then there's the whole question of AI's impact on jobs.
Right. If AI can diagnose, manage treatments, even perform surgeries.
What happens to all the doctors and nurses?
Exactly.
Well, we're already seeing AI making inroads into coding.
Really?
Yeah, there are startups building AI that can write code way more efficiently than humans.
So programmers are going to be out of a job.
Well, some people think that this is actually a step towards artificial general intelligence.
Like the kind of AI we see in the movies.
Exactly, the kind that can think and learn like a human.
That's both exciting and terrifying.
It is, right?
So what does all this mean for the future of work in healthcare?
That's the big question. Will AI create new jobs as it takes over others?
And how do we make sure that it doesn't just make existing inequalities worse?
Those are crucial considerations. With all this talk about AI, it's important to remember the human side of healthcare, too.
Right, we can't lose sight of that.
Raman Healthcare mentions an article from Harvard Medical School that talks about the Hippocratic Oath in the age of AI.
That's an interesting angle. Like, how do we make sure these powerful technologies are actually being used to uphold those core principles of patient care?
Especially in a world that's changing so quickly.
It's a lot to think about. It feels like we're at this crossroads. Right? We've got these amazing advancements in healthcare on one hand, but this huge crisis of trust on the other.
Yeah, it's a strange time.
How do we bridge that gap?
That's the million-dollar question.
Well, the Edelman Trust Barometer offers some interesting insights.
It does.
What's their take on all this?
Well, it's not exactly a rosy picture. Most people feel like they have legitimate grievances against institutions.
Right.
Governments, businesses, the wealthy. They're worried about globalization, economic recession, the rapid pace of technology.
Makes sense.
And of course, discrimination is still a major concern.
So basically, people are feeling pretty pessimistic about the future.
Yeah, there's definitely a lack of optimism.
And that just feeds into the distrust.
Exactly.
The barometer also talks about this thing called hostile activism.
Oh, yeah. That's a worrying trend.
Can you explain what that is?
Sure. It's basically using aggressive tactics to force change.
Like what kind tactics?
It can be anything from online bullying and spreading disinformation to actual threats, violence, even property damage.
Seriously?
Yeah, it can get pretty extreme.
That's scary.
And the barometer actually highlights a really disturbing example.
No.
The CEO of United Healthcare was murdered last December by a hostile activist.
That's awful.
It is, and it shows just how dangerous this trend can be.
Is this a common thing?
Well, over 40% of people surveyed actually approve of hostile activism.
Really?
Yeah, and younger generations are even more likely to support it.
That's kind of alarming.
It is. It suggests that people are losing faith in traditional ways of addressing their grievances.
So what can we do? How do we rebuild trust in this kind of climate?
The Edelman Trust Barometer outlines 4 key strategies.
Okay, I'm listening.
First, institutions need to actually address people's grievances.
So not just brush them off.
Exactly. They need to listen to people's anxieties, understand the economic pressures.
And show some empathy.
Yeah, basically acknowledge that people's concerns are valid.
That seems like a good starting point.
It is. The second strategy is for businesses to step up and take action.
So put their money where their mouth is.
Yeah, but they can't do it alone.
Right.
Collaboration is key.
So we need governments, businesses, NGOs, everyone working together.
Exactly. Everyone needs to be on board.
And what's the third strategy?
The third one focuses on optimism.
Like trying to be more positive.
It's more about creating a sense of hope for the future.
Okay, so if people believe that things can get better,
they're less likely to resort to extreme measures.
That makes sense.
And the final strategy emphasizes the importance of purpose.
Purpose.
Yeah, people need to feel like they're part of something bigger than themselves.
Like they're working towards a common goal.
Exactly. That's what creates a sense of unity and trust.
So it's not just about fixing individual problems.
No, it's about addressing the underlying societal issues that are driving the crisis of grievance.
It's a tall order.
It is, but it's not impossible.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground today. From cutting-edge AI to the erosion of trust.
And everything in between.
It's clear that we're living in a time of unprecedented change.
Absolutely.
And the choices we make today will have a profound impact on the future of healthcare.
No doubt.
We need to make sure that these incredible innovations are used to create a more equitable and trustworthy healthcare system.
One that benefits everyone.
That's the goal.
Absolutely.
Well, thanks for joining me on this deep dive into healthcare innovation and the crisis of grievance.
It's been a great discussion.
We hope this has given you some food for thought.
Yeah, there's a lot to consider
as we navigate this complex and rapidly evolving landscape.
Absolutely.
Thanks for listening, everyone.